Welcome to the Yarn and You Girl podcast. I'm Janine, also known as Yarn and You Girl on the internet. And this is my little channel where I talk to you about all the yarn craziness and knitting and crocheting that I am doing. Happy New Year. It is a couple weeks past the actual New Year now, but I haven't seen you guys since before Christmas. So Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you all. It is, what day is it? Friday, January 17th, and I'm coming to you from my home in Vancouver, Washington. And I just got off work a little early today, so I'm very excited because I usually just work part-time at the pharmacy, and this week I had 4 shifts for 4 days of work basically, and somebody needed some extra hours, so they took the latter half of my shift today. So I got to go home at 12:45, so looking forward to having the afternoon kind of quiet and peaceful. I thought, I have some time, I can do a podcast and share with you guys what's been going on in the last couple weeks since I've checked in. So usually at the beginning of the year, I kind of tally up my FOs from the previous year and kind of tell you guys how many cowls and how many hats and sweaters and blah, 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 blah. But I wasn't very good this year about keeping track. In the past, have done a hashtag for each year so that I could keep track specifically of what I made that year on my Instagram account. But I was really bad about actually posting finished objects when they were finished and then actually tagging them with the hashtag. So I'm going to try to do better this year. We'll have to see how that goes though. Anyway, so let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to kind of talk about before we dive into content. And I don't really think that there is. So moving on into what I have for finished objects, and I actually have a couple. One of them is a new design that I am working on and will be needing test knitters for shortly. I haven't fully gotten it written up yet, so if you're interested in testing this, just maybe email me or put a little note at the bottom here that says you're interested, and then we can, when things are ready, I can kind of go through my list and see who was interested and who wasn't. Or you can go to the Ravelry group, which is the Yarn and You Girl podcast group, and there is a group text or whatever you want to call it, one of those pages that I set up. See, my brain, blah, blah, blah. There is a thread, that's the word I'm looking for, a thread in the group that says interested in being a test knitter, put your information here. So if you're interested in test knitting any of my patterns and I don't have anything currently going, or I'm not quite ready for you, put your info in there and I'll contact you. I still could use some testers for my Bright Note sweater. It is Bright Note coming. I want it to come out in the next couple months, and I still need some testers for some of the larger sizes, like size 4 through 9 basically. I think I have somebody testing a size 7, but I would be happy to have some more testers for that. So since we're done with holiday knitting, and if you guys are interested, please let me know about that as well in that thread, or go to Yarn Pond, and I'll actually put a link here because I'm running the test through Yarn Pond, which is a website that is available for people who would like to test knit for designers, and then designers who are looking for test knitters. So it's specifically for that group, and there's open calls for designs kind of all the time, and test knitters can go in and kind of see if they want to participate and what the requirements are, and if there's any compensation or whether they get to keep their stuff. There's also sample knit options in there too for some of these designers. So I will put the link to the Yarn Pond in the info in the box below. So if you're interested in that, check that out as well, because that's where I'm running the test through there, because it kind of mediates it all for me and keeps track of what you guys are doing, and then I can send emails out to everybody, and it's just a little bit easier than running it just on my own. So I thought I'd give it a try. And so far it's been good. It's just, I think not a lot of people know about Yarn Pond. So if you don't, that is the place that you want to kind of check out. And if you're interested in testing, or if you are a fledgling designer, I'm going to call myself like me, who is still trying to build following, build clientele, like get my designs out there and noticed, I don't really have a large group of testers available to me. So I am always looking for more people to test my projects. I'm actually going to go grab my Bright Note sweater so that you guys can see, if you need a refresher, what I'm talking about, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So the Bright Note sweater is this sweater. Has the little bit of color work on the bottom. It's kind of an oversized, just jumper style, and color work on the bottom and color work on the sleeves as well. I did mine in Brooklyn Tweed Shelter, but it's written for any worsted weight. I have a couple of testers. One tester who's actually doing it as a cardigan and gonna steek it looks like. And so I'm looking forward to seeing that. That'll be really cool. And then one tester who's just using a single color as her accent. And so yeah, it's definitely pretty easy color work for beginner. And the sweater is just straightforward, drop shoulder, nice. I'm making a second one. I'm really excited to have a second one as well because I've been enjoying wearing this, especially it's been kind of cold. And it's a good like overlay piece. So that's the Bright Note sweater. If you're interested in testing it, I could still use some testers for the larger sizes mostly. I have most of the smaller sizes covered, but for the larger sizes, I'd be really grateful for a couple more people. And I think that I'm not sure how big. I did try to be very size inclusive as much as I could with this pattern. Size 9, I want to say is like a 72-inch chest. 72-inch around maybe? I'm not sure. But it is, I try to be as size inclusive as possible. And it is built with some positive ease into it. So there is, roominess for all of us. Anyway, if you're interested, I do need some test knitters for those other sizes. Yarn Pond, and I'll put the link again in the bottom. So enough about that. I had a lot of leftover yarn though from this particular sweater, and I decided to make a shawl out of it and worked on a design that I'd been thinking of in my head for a while, and I'd done something a while back with a brioche version of it, and I just thought it didn't turn out the way I was hoping. So I decided just to do kind of the one detail and then the rest of it garter and more of like a color block. So this is the shawl. I can't remember if it was done when I showed it. I don't think it was done when I showed it to you guys last time or when I last podcast. I know I posted it on Instagram. So it is this. I don't have a name for it yet. I think I'm going to call it the end is just the beginning. That was kind of what I was thinking originally, because you start with this leaf border and then you work and decrease stitches as you go. So it's a giant like asymmetrical triangle, and I'm going to take my cowl off here and I'll put it on so you guys can kind of see. And if you want, there's some good pictures on my Instagram account if you guys are interested in seeing those. But yeah, so just a big cozy oversized shawl. Let's see if I can get a better view of that, with this lovely leaf design border down the front. I like it. I like the autumn colors. I like how they all kind of came together. Like I said, I used Brooklyn Tweed Shelter because it was left over from my Bright Note sweater. One skein of each of the colors besides the red. And I did, let's see. So I did the green, and then I did all of the blue, which was one skein of Brooklyn Tweed Shelter, I think is 50 grams, I think. I don't know what the yardage is right off the top of my head. I'll be able to check here in just a minute. But so I used whatever was left over there. And then and that was, the blue is Tartan, the orange is Embers, the yellow is Hayloft, and then I picked up whatever was left of the green because I was starting to get, I still needed a ways to go and I didn't have any more of any, and I just had the red, so I used the leftover of the green from the border, and the green is Yellowstone, and then the red, this one is Amaranth, I believe, and it's one of their new like marled ones. And so then once I was completely done with all those colors, I just took whatever was left from my red main color, which I think I had a full skein left, and I just used that until I got to the point here. So it's super cozy. I love it. I love wearing it. I love how the colors turned out. I think normally I look at these colors and sometimes go, not so sure, but they looked really good together and they looked good on me, and I feel really, really pretty in it. So I like that. So that's going to be coming out. I'm writing it up. It's fairly simple. The lace or the leafy detail here is the only real involved, moderately involved. It's really not that hard step. And then the rest of it is just garter with some decreases. So pretty nice. I'm excited about that. Excited to have it done. I'll be doing another one with the leftovers of my second Bright Note sweater that I'll be showing you because I'm still in the works of that one as well. So that's my first finished object. Then I did some socks. I had bought some Tuku wool. Let me see. I got the tag. I actually have the tag, guys. It's amazing. Tuku wool fingering. And the Havu, wait, I don't think that's Havu. I don't think I got any other colors of this, so it must be Havu colorway. And let's see, so this is Tuku wool. And I'm very excited. I'm going to be carrying this in the shop here soon. I should be getting some. I placed an order, so I'm very excited about that. I used 2 skeins to make the socks, and they are a copycat version of Andrea Mowry's Tuku Honey. I just kind of looked at them. I looked at the picture and decided I think I can try to make those without purchasing the pattern. So I'm not going to write them up or tell you guys how I did them because it is her pattern technically, and I don't think that would be very fair. If you guys do want the pattern, if you want to make them, her pattern is called Tuku Honey. And it uses like a toe up construction and a fleagle heel, which I'd never done a fleagle heel, and I actually like the way it fits. I haven't worn these out yet, but I did like the way that it fit. It did not leave any holes or anything in the side, so I kind of like that. Yeah, it takes a little bit longer than my normal Fish Lips Kiss heel that I've been kind of going to. But yeah, they're really, really pretty. I wanted some nice solid, these are pretty rustic-y wool, but I've washed them now and they're quite soft. And I'm sorry it's washing out really bad and not focusing very well. I don't know how well you can see that. They are quite dark. But they have like a honeycomb cable with some garter in the middle as a detail for the front of the socks, and then there's nothing on the back of the socks. And like I said, I did a fleagle heel. I got the fleagle heel from Biscotti Yarns, has a free like sock pattern that had a fleagle heel. So I can't remember what the sock pattern was, but I just Googled fleagle heel written instructions and checked out a couple links, and so I followed them. And then I also had Andrea Mowry had done a Vinner, I don't know how to say it, it's VINR Vinner socks that she had published in Lane magazine in the one from the winter, I think it's number 6 maybe, and it was the same yarn, but a different pattern, and it had a fleegle heel on it as well. And so I kind of looked at that also, but hers in that is more of a ribbing pattern throughout, and it's like a right and a left, but they're very beautiful socks. So I might actually make those socks too once I get some more of the Tuku wool from my shipment. Once that comes in, I'm gonna probably do those socks because I thought they were really pretty. A nice like right left look to them, mirrored image. I like that. I think that's pretty cool. And sometimes you just want a slightly detailed sock, but not like a crazy detailed sock. That's what I liked about these, was it was just enough to keep me interested. And I really enjoyed working with the wool. Like I said, it is quite rustic, but it felt really nice on my fingers. Oh, the sneeze. Oh my goodness, you guys. That was a giant sneeze. I'm trying not to like blow my computer away. I'm sorry. I will hopefully edit that out, but I don't know how well that's gonna go. Anyway, my allergies. I did enjoy working with the yarn quite a bit. It is a heavier, it's called a fingering. It's more sporty, I think. I did these on a size 0 and I used 56 stitches for my stitch count. So I tried a 64, which is what I normally do, and I usually normally do 64 on a size 1, and the 64 even on the zeros was going to be huge on my foot. So I went down to a 56 stitch sock, and that seemed to be a good compromise. So those are my second finished objects. I'm very excited to have those done because I want to wear them really, really badly. Okay, now moving on to what I am working on right now, and I'm looking around wondering where it went. Okay, so I'll show you my Bright Note sweater that I'm working on currently, and this is the black version that I'm doing. So this is also Brooklyn Tweed Shelter. I'm very kind of obsessed with them right now. Excuse me. I'm so like need to go blow my nose or something. But so yeah, kind of obsessed with it. So this is a lovely black. I can't remember, of course, the name of it, but let's see if I have a tag in here somewhere. No, not that one. Not that one. I don't think I have a tag in here. Hang on. You know what? I'm going to come right back, guys. Sorry, I have to do this to you again. But I'm going to go blow my nose because I feel like I'm just doing all the time. And then I'm going to go find the tag. Okay, I'm back. Sorry. No more sniffling, hopefully. No more sneezing. And I actually have a ball band. So it's cast iron. That is the Shelter, Brooklyn Tweed Shelter. And oh, I was going to tell you, there's 140 yards in a 50-gram skein. And I am doing this sweater on a size 7 needle. So the last time I showed it to you guys, I think it was just about at the color work section. I needed to start the color work. And I have actually done this color work now twice because I was going along and I just wasn't leaving enough room between the two color work sections. I wasn't following the pattern like I should have been. So I ripped it out and did it over. So I've now done this twice. The first color in here is Postcard. It's like a really super light gray purple. And then the second color is Camper, which I actually love this color so much. I kind of want a sweater in just this color. I'll show you what it looks like in the ball. It's this beautiful, you can't really even tell, but it's this lovely like pink-ish, I don't know, but every time I look at it, I just am like, I want a whole sweater in this. So I might have to splurge and get some more of that and make just a regular, like the sweatshirt sweater or some kind of just cozy pullover, because I really just want a whole sweater in this. But, you know, I'm trying to use some of the yarn that I have in my stash. use kind of it up a little bit, and I'm also preparing for Vogue Knitting Live right now. So Vogue Knitting Live in Seattle is coming up in March. I'm going to be having a booth there. I'm super excited because I got a really great spot kind of in the very entry when you first walk in. I'm like one of the first corners, so it'll be super exciting. So that's happening in March. So if you're going to be in Seattle, you should come to Vogue Knitting Live and say hi. But anyway, that's my little Vogue Knitting Live plug. But I'm mostly knitting on things that I'm getting ready for the show. So I've been not knitting on this as much as I'd like to, because I don't think the sweater is going to be ready for publishing just yet at Vogue. So I'm working on some of the other things that I can have on display at that time. But anyway, this is Bright Note, and it's coming along. I think I'm making size number 2, and yeah, I think this will work out great. I changed, it's going to be a little different fit than my red one, because my red one was kind of my first test one, and then I realized I'd made the armholes too long on the red one, so I adjusted the armholes for this one, and they're going to be not quite so down in the pit area, and they'll be a little bit more up here with the normal, you know, kind of fitted stuff going on. Normal fit, not fitted. The sweater itself is not fitted. Just to clarify, it is an oversized sweater. I just didn't want gapping, saggy armholes. That's all. Anyway, I've got 2 more colors to add to the color work, and then I just have to do the rib on the bottom and the arms, and I'll be almost done. And it goes fairly quickly when I actually get a chance to work on it, but like I said, I've been trying to work on things for the Vogue Knitting Live booth. Like those Tuku wool socks that I just finished. If I can get that wool in time for Vogue Knitting, I'll bring the wool to the show, and then I'll have those socks to display as a, hey, this is what you can do with these, you know, skeins of yarn. Anyway, so that is my first whip. My second whip is, you guys saw I finished that amigurumi Lally Lala crochet. What was it? It was Paul the Toadstool, I think. I finished him for my sister's second boy. His name is Henry. He's just a little guy of a year. And I was just loving doing the amigurumi and just thinking they were so sweet. So I went through my stash and I found all this extra cotton yarn that I had from one point. I had seen a hexagon granny square like cowl or scarf in a catalog a long time ago. I think it was, I don't even remember the catalog, but it was something that I don't know if they're even in business anymore. But it was this beautiful multicolored hexagon scarf. And, you know, kind of like the beekeeper quilt that is the hexagons and they're all sewn together. But this was crochet granny square hexagons. And I thought, oh, I can make something like that. And I have a crochet book that's got all these different styles of granny squares. So I started making these little hexagons. I got about 8 or 9 of them done. And I was like, I'm done with this. I'm not making any more of these stupid little hexagons. I don't care. I don't want that scarf that much. I'm really bad at these like PC projects sometimes. But anyway. So I decided, nope, I'm not going to do that. And I had all this yarn, though, sitting around. So I am making this doll. She's so cute. So Doll Ida, it's by CaroCreated. And it is available on Ravelry. It's a super detailed pattern, like really lots of instructions, lots of pictures, talks about what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to do the hair, like the hair, you know, so cool how to figure out how to do the hair. So I am very excited about that. I've kind of put it down a little bit, but I've gotten a bit of it done already. So let me show you what I have done. I have her face. she has eyes and stuff too, so it's actually almost a person. And then I have, this is the start of her dress. Now, this looks like a nipple, and my husband and I were cracking up over it because it's her dress and her neck. But, you know, you hold it like this, and it could clearly be a boob cover. And this looks like a giant nipple. So my husband, I was making it, and my husband kind of walked over to me, and he sort of did this. And he was like pinching it and just being silly with it. But it's a neck, not a nipple. And it's a stripy dress. But what happens, I guess, is the neck piece goes up into the head, and then you sew it on somehow like that. And then, yeah, I guess. I mean, I'll figure it out. But that's what that is. It's a neck. But it totally looks like a nipple. And I was hanging out with the ladies at the coffee house that we meet with for a little knitting group. Michelle from Naughty Knitwits and Pam and Gail and Lori. Hi, ladies. It is, Michelle had taken a picture of her on, like, holding this over her boob, like this. So if you want to check out our fun little group, she's got some photos on her Instagram account of all of us being silly in our little coffee meetups. But I haven't done anything else for a while. Like, this is as far as I've gotten. The back's a little messy right here where you're joining the colors. She has you do something strange, and I know she's trying to prevent like the jog or whatever, but I still think it's a little messy. But I'm not going to really worry too much about it because the little girl's going to have a coat on over, and it shouldn't matter after that. I'm just using a bunch of leftover cotton yarn. I have no idea the name of it. I did have to go to Joann's and I picked up some more of the pink because I was using a different color pink originally, and I'm holding 2 strands of the cotton together because I wanted to give it a nice dense material, or a nice dense fabric so the stuffing wouldn't poke through. But I got like part of the way done and realized, or all the way done with the neck, sorry guys, let me start over again. I got all the way down with the head, but I knew I wasn't going to have enough for like the hands and the arms and stuff. And so the neck is actually this new color, which is Bernay Softy Baby Cotton. And it's actually very similar in color. It's a little smidge darker, but you'll never be able to tell once it's all put together. So I tried to find something slightly similar to what I had. And so I'm using that, and then I've got all these other colors, like this creamy color, some of this yellow, and I've wound them all up so they are already double-stranded. So I don't need to like hold 2 strands together. They're already 2 strands together. And I've got some orange and hot pink and all these other ones in here, like purple and green and blue, and just a bunch of colors because that's what it looked like the girl had, a stripy dress with lots of colors. And I had to buy some more safety eyes because I'd run out of safety eyes. And she has all these little pretty doodads on her coat and stuff, so I bought some buttons that are kind of like these, and I think those will make a nice little addition. So that'll be coming along. There's no rush for that. It's not a gift or anything for anyone. It's just for me. I just kind of want her to sit on the shelf. She's so cute. And I was really feeling the amigurumi vibe at Christmas time. So I got started for one for myself. So that is works in progress number 2. And the last one that I'm going to show you guys today is for the booth at Vogue Knitting Live. And it is called the Strata Cowl. So I carry Baah yarn in my shop. I carry mostly La Jolla, which is a fingering weight, but I do have a little bit of Shasta. And this is a cowl that is done with Shasta, and she had some kits that she'd put together where you get the yarn and the pattern, and it's all like done up in, let me grab one. So these little kit braids like this, and I have, so they're going to be hard for me to list on the website. I'm trying to figure out how to do that because I have when I ordered them from her, it was like original, you can order neutral, or you can order bright. And I don't really know what I'm gonna, like, am I gonna, like, if you want neutral, what if you don't like the new, like, I won't be able to give you all the different neutral, I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. So I am gonna have these kits available at Vogue, and that's probably where I'll mostly sell them. And then afterwards, I'll put them up. Like, this is like an all blues almost kit, and then like this one, they're in these plastics so you can't see. And then there's some neutrals and different ones. So anyway, but the Strata cowl, the kits will come with the cowl, with the pattern and the yarn. And this is the Strata cowl. So you do this, it's like single brioche rows. And you start with one color or two colors, and then you drop one color and you add a second color, but keep going with the one of the first colors, and then you continue like that and continue like that. And now I'm on to working. So this section is black and gray, and then like the one before was the black and the blue, but I dropped the black now because the black's finished and I still have half of the gray. And so then I pick up the next color and work this with the purple. So it's gonna be, and then you stitch it together, mattress stitch it at the end. Now, I don't know, I looked on Ravelry. I think the pattern is only available via the kits. I don't think it's available for purchase on Ravelry. I have a pattern for each of the kits. And then if it's something that you are interested in making after Vogue, I will, if I have any extras, I will put them up on the website. I'll just try to figure out a good way to have them done. But right now they're just for, it's just going to be for Vogue Knitting Live in Seattle in March. But I'm liking the way it's turning out. It was not the original colors in the pattern. It's funny because when I ordered it, it said Strata Original, and the colors of the cowl were like the rainbow almost. Like you had yellow and you had some green and blue and pink and black and gray, and you know, but it had some green in there, and there was no green in this one. But you know, I'm still liking the way it's turning out. I have a few ends to weave in. It's a very simple pattern. It'd be really cool to do with like a bunch of leftover yarn, because oh my goodness, I hope that did not just show up on your guys' screen. Sorry, I just got like a warning of a software update and it like popped up right in the middle. And I hope that it didn't show up on your screen, like right in the middle and block my face. So anyway, so Strata cowl, Mira Cowl, I believe is her last name. Yikes. Sorry, Mira, I can't remember. But she and her husband, Jeff, own Baah. Let me see. Yeah, Miracle. Haha. Okay. So that has been the knit that I'm working on mostly right now that I finished the Tuku Honey copycat socks. I am doing this because I want to have it ready for Vogue Knitting Live. And I'm liking the way it's coming out. She has you cast on more stitches than I cast on, because I originally was casting on the amount she called for, and it was going to be really wide, and I would much rather it be this width and longer so I can double it than half as wide more, or is that the way to say it? Like, anyway, it'd be like this much wider and shorter. So I'd much rather have it longer. So anyway, if that makes any sense. Probably doesn't. Anyway, so that's all I've been working on for knitting and stuff. I did want to share with you guys. No, I don't know what I did with it. I wanted to share with you guys. I got everyone in my family, well, all the siblings, 23andMe, Health, and Ancestry DNA kits for Christmas. And I just got my results, and I wanted to share with you guys a little bit about some of the fun things that were on this. So let me see if I can go find it. Okay, I found it. I'm like probably left it somewhere, you know, randomly around the house because that's what I do. But I know you guys, the reason I bought these kits was because my mom has Alzheimer's, and one of the genetic variants that they can test for is late onset Alzheimer's disease. And that was the initial driving factor was like, let's get these out and let's find out if we actually have these variants, if we have one copy or more than one copy, and how likely is it that we're going to develop maybe late onset Alzheimer's disease. So it also tests for a lot of other things too, which if you are at all anxious about any of that stuff, not a good idea maybe to get the health one. The ancestry one is kind of fun and to find out where you're from and stuff. But I wanted to do the health one, and I would suggest if you are interested in doing the 23andMe to wait until they have a sale because they're expensive. And I bought mine like on Black Friday and they were 50% off. So that was a pretty good deal. And I figured for a Christmas gift that was fine. But if you guys want to, that's kind of the best time of the year from what I've heard to purchase them. So some of the things that I found out about myself, I wanted to share with you guys because I just thought they were sort of fun. So as far as family, ancestral DNA, and like what I'm made of, where I come from, my DNA suggests that I am 45.7% British and Irish. So Greater London, United Kingdom, it looks like Dublin area, those kinds of things. So that was really no surprise. I knew I was European descent in general, and my aunt had done some research on Ancestry.com like years ago and found out that the Dudley side of my family, which is my mom's maiden name, could be tracked all the way back to Queen Elizabeth's court. There was I don't know if you guys ever saw the movie Elizabeth, the one that Kate Blanchett did, where she's Queen Elizabeth and it's in her reign, and has like a lover and his name is Robert Dudley. Well, my ancestor was like his brother. That's what my aunt found out. So that was kind of cool. So obviously my great uncle was not, or my great grandfather was not at all like in the Queen's court or anything like that, but he was related. So I did know that I was United Kingdom and British Irish descent somewhere along those lines. So about 45% of me is that. The other portion, big 32%, was French and German, and mostly German, which I knew that too, but I would have thought more French because my maiden name, which is Remily, was actually a small town in France along one of the coasts, although it's spelled with 2 L's and mine was only spelled with 1 L. And my dad had always told us, oh, that's kind of where, part of his family had come from. But I do have a lot of German in me as well. So mostly German, French, and English descent, which I knew that as well. So nothing like major. There's a little bit of Scandinavian, a little bit, surprisingly, of Spanish and Portuguese. So that was kind of interesting that when they do break it down into generations, like how far back that bit of your DNA may be linked to. So my Spanish Portuguese is probably like 8 or 9 generations in the past. Clearly, I don't think I have a lot of that left over. But I'm mostly European regions, Southern European, Northwestern European, that kind of thing. And so that's what I'm made of. That was kind of cool. Then then when you go into your health stuff, it tells you, okay, here's some of your variants, DNA variants that they detected. And so they detected that I have like a variant for age-related macular degeneration. Macular degeneration is an eye disease where you start losing your vision, and I think it's something about the retina. I don't even know because I'm not an eye doctor. But anyway, it makes you basically go blind as you get older. I have one of the variants, but I'm not likely at an increased risk of developing macular degeneration. Now, these are not like, there's all these caveats that say, these are not diagnostic tools. Do not take this as like you actually have the disease or you actually are going to have the disease. They are just kind of telling you that, hey, you might be, you're a carrier or you might be at higher risk. So obviously, though, there's a lot of lifestyle factors and not just genetics that play a role in this. So things that you do with your life, the way you live, the environment that you live in, those all affect your health as well. We all know that, right? Like if we're smokers, then we're more likely to develop lung cancer because we're smokers. Or, if we work in a pollution environment like a bar or something where we're getting secondhand smoke, there's all these other factors, right? Like we may not smoke, but we might end up still getting lung cancer because we work in an environment where there is a lot of this secondhand smoke. We know secondhand smoke causes cancer. Okay, so it's kind of the same thing. Like you're at a higher risk of developing these things. There are certain environmental things that will put you at an even higher risk, but there's also things that you can do, keeping yourself healthy, obviously good diets, things like that. So they go into all that, but they really don't want you to get freaked out over the fact that you have these variants. Now, the biggest concern I had was obviously the Alzheimer's because I've been watching my mom deal with that, and her father had it. So I figured I had a variant. I figured I had two variants actually, and I don't, which is thank God. But the other day I was like, I know I'm going to come back and it's going to say I have all these variants for Alzheimer's, and I'm going to just like, I know it's going to be me who gets it. Well, I do have a variant, yes. And it does say I'm at a slightly increased risk. This particular variant, I have a slightly increased risk. Now, if I have a close relative who has it, I am at an even more increased risk of developing Alzheimer's. But just with the variant, it says about 5 to 7% of people with this variant will develop it after 65. And then by the time, if I have this variant, I might develop it by 85. 20 to 30% of those people will develop it by age 85. So my mom is 70. In February, she is going to be 76. So we started noticing it in her late 60s, early 70s. So I'm not sure, if she had the same variant because she didn't get one of these kits because I figured we already know she's got Alzheimer's. Why do we need to know if she has a variant or not? She actually has the disease. So, but there's a lot of lifestyle things that she has done that are we're more likely to put her at a higher risk. So, she smoked for a really long time. She has not exercised in years and has not really done anything to keep her stimulated, like her brain stimulated. She would read and stuff, but she really does a lot of television. Like she watches a ton of television. She sleeps with the TV on. She doesn't get good sleep because of it. There's a lot of studies that talk about sleeping with the television on. Obviously it's not good. Like you really should be sleeping in an environment that is dark and quiet and there's no light distractions and things like that. So she's not done a lot with her adult life, but be on the couch watching television. She has not exercised or done anything like that. She eats fairly healthy. She's not excessively overweight or anything like that, but she hasn't really kept herself stimulated. And when she stopped working was when we noticed problems more. So she retired, and as soon as she really didn't have anything to keep her active, her brain active, that was when we started noticing symptoms. So I already know that those are things that I will need to be making sure that I do. I need to be staying physically fit because they do talk about a heart healthy diet and exercise are known to slow the progression of memory loss. So I already do all of that. I exercise 5 to 7 days a week, depending on the week and what's going on, but mostly at least 5 days a week. And I do a variety of things. I talk about learning new things, keeping your mind active, reading. This, like knitting, that is very good for keeping your cognitive function. So I feel like I'm on pretty good track for the things that I can control, because I can't control my genetics. So, but part of me was kind of freaked out that it was going to be me who has this, problem happening to her in 30 years. 30 years doesn't seem that long. So I am, in a way, like, I knew that I would have the variant. I am disappointed that I have the variant, but it's not like a shock to me. I figured I've got the gene. But it is nice to know that it's not the end all be all. Like, it's not an absolute, I'm going to get this disease. Like, I'm at a slightly higher risk. I figured that out already. But I kind of wanted it in, on writing or something. But there's things that I can do, and I'm doing those already. So I'm happy with that. I think that I can keep myself stimulated in my brain and active in my body, and I will be good, hopefully. So if you start, seeing me in 20 years from now and I'm still doing this and I'm forgetting, what I'm doing, then you might want to send me a message and say, hey, you're losing your memory. Time to go on medication. No, just kidding. Gosh, if I am still doing this in 20 years, like podcasting, can you imagine how many videos I'll have had by then? Oh my goodness. I'll have made all the things, maybe. We'll see. Anyway, one of the other things that it said I was at an increased likelihood of developing was type 2 diabetes, which is because of my it looks like because of my European descent, I have a 36% chance of developing type 2 diabetes at some point between the ages of 42 and 80. Now, type 2 diabetes is also diet related, exercise related. So if I can keep myself at a healthy weight and a healthy diet and healthy physical activity, then I'm not too worried about that either. I don't have anybody in my family who has type 2 diabetes. My parents don't have type 2 diabetes. So the fact that it says I'm at like an increased risk, that doesn't bother me. Like, it bothered me more that I have a slightly increased risk for late onset Alzheimer's than an increased likelihood of developing type 2 diabetes. And that's because I already see Alzheimer's in my family. Type 2 diabetes, I see it in people every day. I know that there are things that we can do to prevent it. And a lot of people, as we get older, most of us are going to be more increased risk of developing type 2 diabetes as we get older, because just the way that's just the way things happen. As you age, your risk goes up. So I'm not worried about that though, because I'm taking care of myself now. I plan to continue to take care of myself. So yeah, not a big deal there. But it did give me some really fun trait things, which I thought was kind of cool. So I was going to tell you some of these things. So it says I have the ability to match musical pitch, that I'm more likely to be able to match musical pitch, which actually is pretty true. I'm not tooting my own horn or anything, but I sing fairly well. I don't sing great, and I miss notes, and I go flat quite often, but I do sing fairly well. I'm not professional at all, but I've always been able to. I sang in choir, in church, that kind of stuff. And I used to, my mom, who is never could carry a tune. She couldn't carry a tune in a bucket at all. My sister and I both sing fairly well. And we would sit next to my mom. She would want us to sit next to her and sing loudly in church so that we could drown out her horrible bad pitch. Couldn't sing as she tried to sing, because she likes to sing, or she liked to sing when she was younger, but she sucked, and we would make fun of her. badly. So that doesn't surprise me that I have the ability to match musical pitch. It says I can detect asparagus odor, which I don't know if you guys know, but I think that's when you eat asparagus and you pee, your pee smells like asparagus. So I am more likely to be able to smell the asparagus odor in my urine. Which is totally true. I swear, as soon as I eat asparagus and maybe I go to the bathroom like an hour later, all I'm smelling is asparagus odor. It has a distinct smell. If you have never been able to smell it, then you're lucky you don't carry this gene. It is weird. It is weird. But that is how I actually got my kids to eat asparagus. It's cool. It makes your pee smell funny. So anyway, I am likely to smell the asparagus odor, which is true. It says I likely can't taste bitter things, which I'm not sure about that. I don't know. It says I am more likely than average to have had a bunion. Well, I don't personally have a bunion, but my twin sister has a bunion. So I'm sure that that's probably true also. It says I have a slightly higher odds of disliking cilantro. I do like cilantro though. So when I first started cooking though, I did not like cilantro. So, I like it now, but I didn't like it then. I have likely detached earlobes. So that's earlobes that don't go straight and attach right here. They actually have a little bit of a lobe right there. True. It says I'm likely to have blue or green eyes. I have blue. It says I am more likely than average to be afraid of heights. I would say that's true. I am more likely than average to be afraid of heights. It says I am likely to have that my ring finger is longer than my index finger. And it's true. On this hand, my ring finger is longer than my index finger. Now on this hand, not so much. So I found that kind of interesting when I was actually comparing them. They're more the same size on this hand than they are on this hand. Like this hand is definitely bigger. Now, this is the finger that I cut the tip off of, but I only cut the pad right here. Like it didn't actually cut the tip of my finger off. So I don't think that has any bearing on this test. But it's weird because one side is longer and one side is not. So that's kind of odd. It also says I likely to have little freckling, blah, blah, blah. Likely to have, so this is funny. It says hair texture. Likely straight or wavy. Like, really? Straight or wavy? That doesn't make sense at all because if I'm likely to have straight hair, then I'd have straight hair. But I'm likely to have either or. Doesn't make sense. It says scientists think the texture of your hair is created by the shape of your follicles. The curvier the follicle, the curlier the strand. So the combination of your genetics and other factors makes you most likely to have straight or wavy hair. Well, what does that mean? I don't know. I do, though, know this. When I was younger, I had straight hair. I had straight hair until I hit puberty, and then I had curly hair. And I have had curly hair ever since. So maybe that's what it means. Maybe it means I'm likely to have straight hair and then wavy hair. Who knows? So kind of interesting. And then it said I'm more likely to prefer chocolate ice cream over vanilla. I'm not sure if that's true. I like chocolate though, definitely. More than fruit flavors. My hair color is likely dark. It says I am less likely to hate chewing sounds. Not sure. I don't like annoying sounds, but I'm less likely to hate the chewing sound. So that's kind of interesting. More likely to experience motion sickness. Now, I've only experienced motion sickness one time, and that was when my husband and I went fishing out at Buoy. I think it's called Buoy 10. It's out as the Columbia River meets into the Pacific Ocean. There's a really great area there for fishing, but it is quite choppy. I grew up in Seattle, though. We had a boat. We would go out on the Sound all the time. I remember getting seasick one time, but most of the time I was fine. And then I don't get sick in the car like when I'm driving or anything, unless it's really, really curvy and I'm knitting or something like that and we're really going around a lot of turns, then I will. But when I was a kid, I never got motion sick at all driving. So I did get sick when we went fishing that one day and I was puking over the side. Like, that was the worst I have ever been motion sick. It says, I am likely to prefer sweet over salty. I would say that's true. I am likely to not have a unibrow. I would also say that's true. So it's just some fun things in here. Oh, likely no photo sneeze reflex or photic sneeze reflex. I think that's when you look at the sun and it makes you sneeze, but I do sometimes have that happen to me. So I don't know. It's kind of funny, though. It does also say I am likely to be bitten by mosquitoes more often than others, and that is true for sure. I always get bit when nobody else does. Let's see. It says also that I am likely to have, where was it? I think I'm likely to have a longer big toe or something like that. Where did it go? Oh yeah. So some people have a second toe that is longer than their big toe. It says I am likely to have a longer big toe. But you know what's funny? It's the same thing with my hands. One side, my second toe is bigger than my big toe. And just slightly, like not enough to really like notice. One side is just a little longer, and then one side is about the same. So I don't know what that means. I know most of my family, though, have a really long second toe, like really long. So anyway, I thought it was kind of fun. It was a really interesting experience to get that report and everything. Taking the sample is kind of gross, like having to do the sample. You're spitting into this test tube and you literally have to spit like this much, and you can't eat or drink anything for about half an hour before. So it's not like you can drink something to kind of create some saliva. You have to be like, and then spit and then spit. It was kind of gross, but very cool to have the results of that come through and to know that yes, I am at an increased likelihood, but it's not an absolute. Like, I don't have double genetic variant that says you're guaranteed to have this happen to you. I just have a more likely risk of developing Alzheimer's, which I kind of knew that already, but like I said, it was good to know. So anyway, I know that was a lot of fun genetic blather, but thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out today. I better get going because I have to pick up my kids from school. Oh, and there's the dog letting me know that, somebody's outside because he does that. I will talk to you guys later. I can't wait to share with you what I am doing in the next couple of weeks, and we'll see you then. Bye.